Greetings and the best of salutations. That would be prayer, power, peace, patience, and prosperity. The human experience and its tendencies, the influence thereof, the potential to strive for greatness in this material world. There is something that is greater in you, in me, in our nature, because surely one gets what he or she strives for. Was having a conversation about these uh, these human tendencies. One's a type of behavior that one possibly is influenced by and one adapt to and become guided by. The meaning behind the meaning, the word behind the word, the you behind the you, the me behind the me. There's a story of Set and Haru, ain't called ancient Kemet, two brothers. Then there's a story of Cain and Abel, two brothers, two brothers. But there are not literary stories. It is something real and serious that is happening amongst us in the real world. I'd probably be trying to read from a book and extracting from it, applying the teachings of Imam Warren Muhammad, a brother that wrote this book. His name is Dr. Mabashir. Dr. Mubashir, if I pronounced that right. Yes, book 5. And I was also want to deal with a term called drama. I hear that a lot. In the Greek sense, if I may use that, ancient Greece, as they called it, were not simply or even primarily for the purpose of entertainment. The human potential, what we strive for. Surely we get what we strive for in this world. The human experience, it's a fragile one. The human tendencies, the influences, and the type of behavior that we participate in and become a part of. It was not, primarily for the purpose of entertainment, because I realize that people become entertained with knowledge that they cannot grasp. And those who behind the scene know that, such as unless you go to school and develop a certain, skill or training. When you go to school, you learn the law, the legal uh, terminology, just colloquial, you know. So, but the tragic drama provided the audience with an opportunity to reflect on his own social, political, and religious values. Drama. It says it's not primarily for the purpose of entertainment. Tragic drama provided the audience with an opportunity to reflect on his own social, political, and religious values. Drama. Moral, ethical, to reflect. I know there was a brother that think in the 70s of Julius Nyeri, he was doing plays, but it was more on a positive manner. You know, it wasn't negative. Someone says it's not me. I don't give no. I'm not giving any definitions to this here. 5 lessons in Greek tragedy: unconditional love and the importance of democracy. Two, a lesson about copying. A lesson about coping with being surrounded by idiots. What to do when you get left for another woman. The pain and the glory of being rebellious for a greater good. A lesson about choosing the ones you fight for. 5 lessons in Greek tragedy. One, unconditional love and the importance of democracy. A lesson about coping with being surrounded by idiots. What to do when you get left for another woman. The pain and glory of being rebellious for a greater cause. A lesson about choosing the ones you fight for. Well, let's look at this story in this book, Cain and Abel. Remember, man, when one is expressing himself, or as I am expressing myself as an expressioneer, when it comes to converting words into ideas and words into meaning and meaning into emotion, and therefore it draws a logical conclusion. But the emotion and the logic must merge together. Dialogue, discussion, and exchange, and the insight and the guidance of expression, the opportunity of expression, and show appreciation for that expression. To bring awareness of what is happening among us. He goes on to say that the heart of this story revolves around talking about Cain and Abel, around the point that two brothers made a sacrifice. Someone says that about brotherhood or sisterhood, the importance of family when it comes to the key to community life uh, is family. Family is the key to community life, or we should strive to participate in that family activity, or the key to social life, the key to community life, the key to social life. It's a key to participate in group thought therapy. Well, the sacrifice, one was accepted and the other was rejected. What we need to know is why one was accepted and the other was rejected. Why was one approved and the other rejected? Abel's sacrifice and rejected Cain's sacrifice. On the way to answering this important question, we share additional insights we have extracted from this story. Now, there are some people who say that the Quran already answers these questions. In the first verse in the version of this story, 527, it said that Allah accepts the sacrifice of the righteous. This implies that he did not accept Cain's sacrifice because Cain was unrighteous. Hmm. Yes. Well, the Genesis Quran, Surah 527:32, and the King James Bible, Genesis 4:116, both describe the story of the two sons of Adam, Cain, and Abel. In this essay, it will be shared the insights and the lessons from the story based upon the language and logic of Imam Muhammad. I just pray that it will be pleasing as I extract from it. Now, let's think about this. How was Cain unrighteous? It is said that the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. In the Bible, wage is if you're betting on something. The gift is a present, or we're in this present moment, space, and time. Righteous living unto a meaningful life. Truth cannot be sacrificed to any interest. Only interest is to be sacrificed for truth. Policy is driven by interest. Policy comes from associated with the word police, territory or place in Greece where only the wealthy men could vote. Women were excluded. Police. Then you get the word police. Policy. Okay. What was wrong with Cain's offer? Was his offering really worse than Abel's? Cain was a tiller of the soil and a farmer. He offered God the products of his land. Humans always look for the end product. I was a brother. I always like to mention his name, Steve Coakley. He was talking about what blacks. He said they will never be united in the process. They only be united in the results. Yes, and Abel was a shepherd, and he offered God the firstborn of his final sheep, of his finest sheep. Why God accept lamb and reject vegetables? Is there really something wrong with working the soil? Is there something offensive to Allah about the products that came out of the material earth? The mineral resources. Hmm. The earth has an appetite, man. It does. The earth has an appetite. It is also a humbling experience to be grounded here on earth. Because I was thinking, man, about pleasure. Um, while our existence here is that we must be responsible with pleasure, and maybe we have become irresponsible with pleasure, and take pleasure maybe in being irresponsible. Yes, clearly Allah does not have a problem with the products of the soil. And I think about the problem. Anytime you take your eyes off your goal, that becomes a problem, and a problem only becomes a problem because the attitude that you have about the problem. The same level of consciousness that created the problem won't solve the problem. Einstein says that that which occupies the mind conditions the mind. That's the nature of the mind. The mind at its best is to be productive. Elijah Muhammad says the brain cells is is constructed to think correctly. We think of the word atom, we think of a human being. Brother Babe would say atoms, like ATOM, an atom. We're all subjected to matter. That's fine. Okay. Clearly, Allah does not have a problem with the products of the soil because it is He who created them and said He made them for our sustenance of His mercy. Yes, sustenance. That means that wealth is given uh, uh, for the purpose of that we use it, responsibly. The resources and all that which is here in the abundance of this land, not to dominate it, not to create terms of minimum wage, not to hold it or hoard it, um, for the benefit for the few, you know, while the masses are struggling, you know, and we see it, we see it that people have to fight like hell just to make it, you know, and but we're still dealing with some human tendencies. Those who go about doing that, they may feel as though that they have a reason to do that, you know, to keep in control of the means and the wealth and the productivity. That's the human tendency, It creates it's a type of behavior and the influence, But who and what is influencing them to think that way? Well, you can tell the psychology of one's mentality by what he or she produces, or you can tell the mentality of one's psychology by what he or she produces. So yes, out of His mercy, that's mercy. That's some powerful stuff. Mercy, you look at certain lives, and certain people may uh, leave early, and then others are still around. I mean, that's some mercy. And then you look at even by us coming into this plane of existence, that's mercy because the environment had to be inhabitable and suitable for us to even be here on this plane of existence. That's mercy. Some call it long suffering. So obviously the problem is not how Cain made the offering. It is not the product, but the intention behind giving the product or quality of the preparation and delivery of the product. Something was wrong about it. It is looking toward or forward to something. And that gets into a reward. And what do I mean by that? People do things and acquire knowledge and information because as if they had some esoteric understanding or knowledge about things, and they sell the people cheap. And this is a problem with religion. And then those who learn certain things and they just make money off of it, further exploit the people. They don't do it for the sake of a betterment of and the development of intellect, for the betterment of the betterment of humanity. Some will call it for the cause of Allah or God. Another example would be a store owner who knowingly sells you a bottle of milk 2 weeks past the expiration date. There is nothing wrong with the milk, but this particular individual is trying to unload his faulty milk product on you and to keep from losing money. I mean, humans, the human experience is a frailty one, and really, we're really faulty. We may not be faulty. Also, we may be salty. you know, but a fault in their ignorance, in their superficiality. In their artificialism. No one has no monopoly on intelligence. We all come from humble beginnings, by us coming and evolving from our mother's womb to here, out on this plane of existence. Well, what he is giving to you is done with hidden and bad motives. That's intentions. Intentions is judged by your actions. Remember, as I stated earlier, the problem is with how Cain made the offering. It's not the product, but the intention behind giving the product, or the quality of the preparation and delivery of the product. Something was wrong about it. Like something is wrong with our thinking. Something's wrong with our heart. I always say we can agree with each other on the surface, but beneath the surface, we're odds with one another. It will come out. But that's the human tendency. That's a human tendency, man. Maybe we the only um, animals, when they use that word, that can, befriend you, and we befriend you for the purpose of winding up killing you. And that which is killing us is the wrong type of education. Our hidden agendas, hidden motives, and a lack of accountability. That's really the fall of humanity, a lack of accountability. Yes, Nova Drew. Ali. Yes, the fall of humanity, the lack of accountability. In the Bible, they call it sin. That's recidivism, moral culture decline. And then Dr. Seymour said you have to take a very serious look of culture when it becomes destructive. You got to very take a serious look at your religion, our thinking, our behavior, all that when it becomes destructive. There was a song by a group of brothers and sisters who said we headed for self-destruction, self-sabotage. Yes. Okay, this is the unrighteous, and Allah does not accept this kind of offering. And all Cain had to do for Allah is to accept his offering was be righteous. We're talking about an attitude now. We're talking about an attitude. To give his best. When I think of best, I think of the goddess Best and ancient Kemet, the protector of women and children. Apparently, he did not do his best. His offerings that are shabby, poor quality, given with bad intentions, that exploit, uh, will spoil and the charity and not be accepted. I mean, sometimes, even relationships that we have is very shaky. That's why I say we can agree on the surface, but beneath the surface, we're at odds. It'll come out sooner or later. Yep. Because, excuse me, because something is not right in one's heart. And the heart is this be the center of your intellect. Wherever your treasures is, that where your heart will be, or wherever your heart is, that where your treasures will be. Yeah, the center of your intellect. At the core, something is not right. I don't care whatever we do, whatever we learn, whatever we profess, whatever title we say we have, but it will show up that something is not right. But that's the human, the influence. But where did this influence come from? It's a natural human tendency. It's a flaw. It's a flaw. Hmm. Well, we think about it. Yeah, because we all are perfect in our own uniqueness. Because I realize that the open enemy that we have is that we're unable to control our urges and instincts. And I've learned that which was kicked out of what they call a garden. And garden is the paradise, and the paradise is associated with our plain existence. Is the wrong attitude? The wrong attitude. Yes. But remember, as I said earlier, the problem is how Cain made the offering is not the product, but the intention behind giving the product, or the quality of the preparation, the quality of the preparation and delivery of the product. That's key. The quality of the preparation, and then the delivery of that product. The tensions behind it. Mm. Well, what is the reasonable conclusion to draw is a lesson we can extract from. I mean, because this universe is a test, and then we learn the lesson. But in the education system, they give you a lesson, then they give you the test. You see, it's something out of order there. That's cool. So, reasonable, because the faculty that has been given to us to be able to reason with one another. That's the faculty that has been given to us to be able to reason. Yes, the Quran does not specify, give us any information about what Cain's offering uh, unacceptable or unrighteous. We know there's a lot of information, but there's not much transformation. You information as that's like uniformity. Uniformity, holding a united front. You front. You give the united. You give the front that you are united. We may give the front and pretend that we got it all together, and we really don't. Faulty notions, the human experience, the frailty, the human tendencies, man. Gee whiz, man. That's why it says about this drama, this Greek tragedy, is not primarily just for a drama. It's not primarily for entertainment alone, but the drama is the opportunity for us to reflect on our own social, political, and religious values, man. Just to reflect on our moral value, on our attitude. What has these human tendencies that are natural in us? It said that he walked in the cool of the day. That means control your passion. The passions and emotions you were suspended in animation, suspended in the thrill. It's the drive and even the sex that we have. With this, it take us somewhere. That we got to cool down, come back, come back, come back. Human emotions, man, it's just it's a beautiful thing, but man, it's the influence of that that it could have without the logic, the balance. That creates a real issue or a problem. But hey, you cannot change anyone who does not see an issue with their actions. Well, it goes on to say this is why Imam Muhammad tells us that we often need to consult scriptures before the Quran to understand better what the Quran is addressing. Islam said the Quran comes to clear up, to bring clarity, to bring clarity. But when I think of scripture, I think of graphics, because children learn in picture form. Picture form becomes a meaning, becomes an emotion, like the images of the wall in Egypt. Hey, they said this is you. This is what you are. This is what you are to become. This is you. You know what I'm saying? Because I realized that there would be no need for vacant esteem or low self-esteem if we hold each other in high esteem. Yes. Yes. So yes, as Dr. Guru talks about self-esteem, and she said that the two things that the African Americans have is patience and perseverance. Yes. But yeah, so in addressing better what the Quran is addressing. In other words, the Quran is commenting on previous scriptures, you know, graphics, previous written text, illustrations, images. Because once you destroy the image of a people, they will communicate that destruction. So, remember, we're born in a condition, placed in a situation, surrounded by circumstances, consequently due to some previous activity that has transpired or taken place. Yes. Previous scripture to see what better the Quran is commenting on. Comment. It's meant for us to be calm, because out of difficulty comes ease, and within a storm there's calmness. Yes. Human emotions. Human emotion. Cain's problem: how envy and jealousy destroys. Uh, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says you can't see envy. But thus, let us turn to the Bible and take a look, as it contains more details about the story. When I think of stories, I think of tears, building, and the material that has been given to us to build on our humanity is character. Character is the outgrowth of one's humanity. That's evangelizing to me. Some Westerners call it, or you call it, maybe, I don't know what Westerners call it, but it's culture hegemony. Culture hegemony. Yes. But Dr. Seymour said you have to take a very serious look at culture when it becomes destructive. I may have said that earlier. Whatever it is, attitude, thoughts, feelings, or whatever you believe in, education or whatever, if it becomes very destructive, you know. And even in our with ourselves and in our relationships one with another, that emotion, man, without logic, and if something is in your heart that is troubling you, it'll show itself out. Yeah, it'll reveal itself. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some hidden intentions, motives behind the way we really feel about ourselves. Yeah, and as an individual and one another, and people will do things, and the human tendency is a human tendency. The human experience is a frailty. It's fragile, and our we're very faulty in our superficiality and our notions to think that we know we got a monopoly on everything, on intelligence. You know, there was something that says that God is the best planner. Okay, let's first address the most basic and obvious lesson of this story. Do not become envious of your brother or sister because they receive more blessing or admiration than you. Now, that's an interesting one there because I realize that those whom we try to help, even though we are considered to be could be wounded healers, is that maybe we are running away and suppressing the hurt or neglecting our own hurt and our own pain by helping others. We can see that there is an imbalance there, whether we want to accept it or not, because you can tell how we act out that there is an unbalance there. Yeah, I mean, and this is not to be used vehemently, if I may use that word, or viciously. The young, what they call in this modern day society, rapper, he said, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And reckless, we do things with reckless abandon and without guidance, really without guidance, you know, without guidance. It says that arrogance, an arrogant person is not gifted with guidance. Arrogance is mean, man. Arrogance is mean, man. But yeah, man. So the Bible tells us that Abel is the second son of Adam and Eve, and Cain, Eve, evening. Well, that's no ball game. Cain, the first son, I like to say son means affection, was the tiller of the soil, and Abel was the shepherd of the sheep. And I mean, even Diop talks about sheep herders or shepherds from Western Asia, as they call them, ignoble people, or ignoble, which means ignorant. Cutthroat too, cutthroat, cutthroat. It says that Abel made an offering to God by giving him the firstborn of his flock, of sheep, and God accepted the offering. Cain also made an offering of some crops that had grown, but God did not accept his crop. Crop. You can crop and exalt yourself, you know, in arrogance. Yeah, you can crop up yourself with arrogance. The first of the flock, sheep, friendship, flock, togetherness. The first, hmm? The intention of the unity of the community. The first. Look at that. Cain was distraught about this, huh? Remember, we talk about, the envy and the jealousy, We look at some of it was a thing that took place in the 60s, and what they call the March on Washington, how A. Philip Randolph passed the baton to Dr. King. Some people lead certain things, and some people say, man, I should be leading it, I should be the one, that's getting the accolades. I should be one to get hurt. That's the human. I'm telling you, the human experience is a fragile one, man. It is these tendencies and the influence that creates a type of behavior, and then we become guided by it. And sometimes we think, whatever it comes to a point that it becomes the norm. Uh, and it may, I don't know, it may be, it could be abnormal, I mean, but all I know is when the logic and the emotion is there is no balance, there's a major problem there, because the once again the open enemy is us not be able to control our urges and instincts, and then not to mention if we look at a lot of the drug activity that people have been introduced to it, that creates another chemical imbalance. Because Dr. Chinga Diop says, or Chinga Diop, Dr. Chinga Diop says that that which is the difference is climatic. It's climatic. How you was raised. Remember, as I said, it says in the book earlier, it says that the problem with how Cain made the offering. It's not the product, but it's not the product. It's not what God produced, but it is the intention, giving the product or quality of the preparation and delivery of the product. Man, I know I threw God in there. So it said, get ye down here and learn. Learn the importance of working together. Learn the importance of not being envious. Learn the importance of not being self-centered. Learn. Learn not to be envious. Learn not to be jealous. Learn not to create these classifications of taxonomy. And taxonomy means it burdens the people in a very dominating manner. Learn that. I know you can do it. I have sent messages your way to teach you that. I have given you illustrations. I have given you texts and written. I have given you a guide. And the guy, you look at the cosmic intelligence. You look at the sun, the moon, and the stars was the first flag, and you look at how they in harmony with one another. Get you down here, man. Humble yourself. So, oh boy, Cain was distraught about this, and he asked him why was he upset. As I said earlier, Set and Haru. There's a hero that comes along, to give you the strength to carry on. But she said that hero lies in you. Hero, Haru, hour. The upset reminded him that if he does do good, his offering will be accepted. Continence failing, his confidence. Marcus Garvey said he or she has no confidence is twice defeated. I remember a story of the Williams sisters. His father was interviewing, had a guy interviewing one of his daughters, and he kept asking her the question, and she was so confident about that she would be the best at what she would do, and he just told the guy, listen, man, don't destroy her confidence. Don't keep coming at her that way. You should never destroy the confidence of a child. So it is in the preparation process, it is the intention, because people have been equipped and prepared with bad motives and bad intentions to destroy you and your confidence as a child. And because mainly in the black American community, if I may use the word black, because black is, you take the B out, it's lack. And it is that we were charged with being inferior. Then that, how can you be? That's falsely accusing somebody of something, man. That's kind of hilarious. But then we think about it. When it comes to the monetary and financial, we see success, what they call celebrities and entertainers and people in the business world or whatever. They're successful. So is it so that there are those who are who does not have accessibility to wealth, as Michael Malcolm said, he couldn't believe that blacks or people didn't have access. I mean, I'm not saying black and white didn't have accessibility to wealth, as he assisted Reginald Lewis in his BHS products. Money is the man, oh man. Money is the man. That's what the Greeks say. Money is the man. You the man. You the man. So he, but God also wants him to be careful of envy and jealousy, because if he does not do right, sin is at his door. Sin is at his door and all around him. Circumstances makes us other than ourselves, which means he's manipulating the ignorance of the circumstance, because you can best diagnose any individual, anything by the condition of the circumstances which they come out of. And when you reach outside of yourself, that you're giving that more strength and more power than yourself. That's you got to control. Logically, you got to control one's human emotions. The balance. But Cain already had envy and jealousy of his brother in his heart. Already? Whew. Already. Nothing outside of all. That means he was ready. That's almost like premeditated. This envy and this jealousy in his heart. Was he not equipped and prepared? But he was warned. Yeah, he was warned. Yeah, he was warned. Yes, he was warned. It says three stages of a prophet. One, to give guidance and warning. You take heed of the warning. That's the good news. So it's envy. It's jealousy. His emotion, I'm adding this in there, drove him to kill his brother. This is what's happening among us, to kill the brotherhood, to kill the family, maybe to desensitize us. I say society is under social reconstruction, where our feelings are becoming desensitized, our thoughts demoralized, our attitude dehumanized, our language devitalized, which means what we're saying to one another, we ain't listening, and our activity has become destabilized. Remember, slavery was a dehumanization process. We're trying to dehumanize. Every thought begins with a seed. I think, as Buddha always say, paraphrasing, all that we possess is a result of thought. That Dehuti. Every thought begins with a seed. The seed of potential. Potential of our awareness to succeed in ascend. It says, man has not begun to live until he moved from the narrow confines of his own concerns to the concerns of the broader world, broader humanity. I'm paraphrasing what Brother Dr. King has said. Jealous of each other because it created hate psychosis, in social comparison, It's a human, is that the human tendency, the part of the human emotion? Is that logical? Is that natural? I mean, hey. So, because if you do, it will lead you. It will lead to punishment. Reward and punishment, because people are seeking some type of reward. Validation. People want to find a place of belonging. So we see people that are, maybe could be out there on the streets trying to find themselves, trying to find a place of belonging, and then that will, there's acceptance out there. I remember one sister who was a singer, and she had got abused and raped as a young child, and she, after that, lived what they in this language, a promiscuous life, but because that which has transpired wasn't corrected, and she feels as though that's the norm. You know what I'm saying? That's accepted. That's accepted. That's why I say, I think of the God is best to protect the women and children. So there's a community. Offer the best, showing the first best as a motto. So I was trying to I created something, this presentation of marching forward in the midst of this, what they call now this pandemic, toward healing. And the ultimate aim is accountability, and The reason why I say that, because we want to create a model. So I think next we have to say, let the healing circle, let the circle be unbroken. When it comes to accountability, when I think of healing, I think of accountability, and I think of the ultimate aim is to come into complete civility. When you come into complete civility, you should be at peace. It says of what they call King Arthur and his round table. All of them set up there. They put down their weapons. They say, "We all men here. We all men here." So, because it would lead you to bad behavior, and that harms others and ultimately harms yourself as well. That which affects one directly affects the other indirectly. Isn't this how envy and jealousy works? A person becomes envious or jealous because they want to protect some self-interest they have. A person wants to be admired for something, so he envies others who might receive admiration for a thing he wants recognition for. His he his envy or her envy drives him to try to discredit another. There's a Hebrew teaching that said when you publicly, shame someone in public, that's akin to assassination, to discredit. Because that's why I say the society is under a social reconstruction, where our feelings are becoming desensitized, our thoughts thoughts demoralize, our attitude dehumanize, our activity yes, our thoughts demoralize, and our communication devitalize. Yes, but the ultimate aim, I mean, the point I want to make is that the is to restore credibility, is to restore social credibility, and we must first understand that it is the restoration and the preservation of restoring credibility, social credibility. Yes, as a community, as a people, one with another. Yeah, yeah, and maybe we're left to these devices um, that we have through technology. Is it restoring the credibility? Is it? I mean, it may. Is it? It gives us value. Is it restoring the credibility, or do we think that the credibility does not be to restore it? Because I know people who understand the importance of freedom, justice, and equality. They know what's most important, man, to them is the is is honoring one another when it comes to credibility. When your credibility, that deals with your word. That deals with your word. Is it necessary for you to be about your word when the other person is not about their word? That takes some patience. Remember, Dr. Guru talks about we must have patience and perseverance. Perseverance. Okay, but in his zeal to discredit the other person, others see for what he really is, and thus he destroys his own reputation for himself. Recognition and reputation. Oh man, that's a hell of a thing, man. It's a hell of a thing. That's why I was talking about being equipped and prepared. It says again, the problem with how Cain made his offering uh, uh, um, is not the product, but the intention behind giving the product. The intention of getting involved or wanting to do the intention. What is the motive behind it? Just to be seen, just to be heard, and the quality of the preparation and delivery of that product. Something was wrong about it. Something is wrong about what's going on, man. The preparation, the intention behind it. Yes, all society face this problem, including our community, when where one member of a group or member becomes envious or jealous of another member or a group of members who might get the recognition for something that they want to be exalted for. Now, I have great concern. Uh, Something I personally deal with. I mean, people, it's like you can't serve two masters. They say you love one or hate the other one. I see people, man. It appears that they live in a decent, respectable lives and big old mansions and homes and so forth and so on. That's I got an issue with that. I just live in a four corner room. I know Paul Laurence Dunbar wrote a poem about that. Like, I'm not content. I'm not satisfied. No. Um, I have ambition. The fire burns in me. Yes. And I hope that I'm not saying if it does you not, but the fire burns in me. So, but my aim is accountability. My aim is accountability. Because I think that many have been irresponsible with accountability, or being irresponsible with, this pleasure here on this plane of existence. So, all society face this problem. Recon, to get recognition for something and want to be exalted. You know, so they hold back support or encouragement, or you know, they could help, and it could lead to success. If you don't want to, help or be a part. I mean, don't hold back your support. Your support. Continue to encourage one another. Continue to strengthen each other, because we do more harm to our personal reputation when we don't reciprocate support and supporting one another, um, organizations or individuals or otherwise. Yes, let us show a little more respect and be a little more kind to each other. Remember, it is mercy that's why we're here. We all have humble beginnings. So this could, that help could lead to success, and so they could have time to try to bring about success. The result is that the whole group loses because the success is not achieved due to lack of unity and cooperation. That's why I always say that adequate cooperation leads to proper communication, and that's how you effectively coordinate your power. You can have all organizations all the world, but there is no cooperation. That's why we must come in a spirit of cooperation. And when you have the spirit of cooperation, you're guided by coordination. And when you're guided by coordination, the authority in which one speaks from is resiliency, because resiliency is the author of success. So, it is like the basketball team when one star player who wants to be a high scorer of the game, so he tries not to pass the ball to other star players, reducing his shooting opportunities in hopes that he can be the one with the highest points. The result is that the score. The result is that they score less points as a team. They lose the game. We score less points as a team. That's why they said one coach, Phil Jackson, he brought team chemistry to at least to the Lakers. Yes, yes, team chemistry. Even when they was down, they wasn't winning. He still kept them together. The team chemistry, and that energy was synergized. Yes. Uh-huh. And that's the continuity. That's the flow of our confidence. That's the continuity. That's the flow. Because as remember Dr. King said, the ghetto is like domestic colony, always being depleted but never replenished. We're talking about a day of reckoning until conclusion, a day of conclusion, and whereas our accomplishments and our failures, it would be revealed. So in trying to take away from his teammate, he really took away from himself, mate, a helpmate, to help you to be productive. We are here to help ourselves to be productive. Hey, mate, everyone loses as a community, as a nation, as a society, as a family. Cain and Abel are family. No one wants his or her family to lose. No one wants his or her nations to lose, to fall. Or it's like if you're drinking water from a well that's not polluted, you don't want nobody to come and pollute the water in which you're drinking out of. Huh? You got an infrastructure. You don't want nobody to disrupt or damage the infrastructure from which you are benefiting from. I understand that. I understand people who are making, a medium of exchange, who making their money the whatever way they make it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I understand it. It's a type of behavior. That's a human tendency. Which, man, I have to take care. They say I have to take care of myself. You know what I'm saying? My family, and I'm doing what I got to do. So whoever how they do it, whoever how they do it, because something has been taken away from him or her. His dignity. His want dignity. People want to live in dignity, man, honor, decent home, decent housing, decent education, decent community, decent environment, decent, man, respect, man. Don't minimize me or marginalize people or ostracize them or polarize them. I'm not trying to use terms that is racist. If I'm your family, you ain't gonna never you gonna see your family without. You ain't gonna minimize them. You're not gonna polarize. You're not gonna ostracize them. You're gonna help them. I remember the story of a brother who got some what they call mental issues that deal with depression, as they call it. His wife said, "Man, I'm with him. I don't got to publicly assassinate him or downgrade him or devalue him or talk about him. No, I'm with him. Of course, he got a little money, but I don't know if that's her true intentions or not. I don't know, but I know that makes sense to me. We got to stop downplaying people, man, when they're down, and they're supposed to be your mate. I'm supposed to be your brother, your sister. Supposed to be out. We got a lot to learn, man. We got a long way to go. So we're just killing ourselves, killing each other. This is something we need to be conscious of. Well, this might be the most obvious message we learn from the story of Cain and Abel. Imam 115 Muhammad has peered deeply into this story, and he has extracted additional understanding and broader insights. But I will stop right there. Thank you. When it comes to this human experience and the human tendencies and the the, the, the frailties, the faulty notions, the drama, and the tragedy. It is said of the African American, however true it may be, that for any viable institution to come about when it comes to African American culture, that he must deal with the trauma, the capture, and the imagination. The trauma. And I know that many other than the African American community talks about drama, you know, and this theatric, as Shakespeare would say, all the world is a stage. We're merely actors in the play. Play a role. The role is your character. It is a character that one must play. It's your role. It's your character. Your role is your character, and character is the outgrowth of one's humanity. Yes. So it's all theater. Maybe it's all stage. And this is a stage. This universe, this earth farmland, pharmaceutical farm, and this inclination that we have when it comes to human tendencies. Some says it's to worship, and as brother late Don Vinny would say, our work is our worship. The work and to cultivate the potential. That's the mandate for common humanity to cultivate the potential of knowledge that is in us all. But this drama, as it says of ancient Greece, is not simply and even primarily for the purpose of entertainment. Tragic drama provided the audience with an opportunity. We are provided with an opportunity to reflect in this learning environment of our own social. It's also associated introspection, political, even though politics is the lowest accommodation of science, religious, moral. Morality is a term that relatively is not that old, relatively new. Values, it's a value. Dealing with the value system. And that's why I always say I just try to promote the value of self-worth, in myself as well as in others. And five Greek tragedy lessons. One, unconditional love and the importance of democracy. Two, a lesson about coping with being surrounded by idiots. I'm just, this is written, this is not mine, it's just something that is written. I'm just reading from the script. What to do when you get left for another woman, or what to do when you get left for another a man, a woman leaves her man, or vice versa. Man leaves a woman. The pain and joy of being rebellious for a greater good. And five, a lesson about choosing the ones you fight for, or what you will fight for. Fire. If there's a fire, you fight to get out of the fire. Until next time, talk to you.